The Mouse That Was by Paul Coy. Thought the little mouse.
Maybe I'm not a lion. Maybe I'm a giraffe.
So he ran over to where all the gigantic giraffes lived in a gigantic cage surrounded by a gigantic fence to stop the giraffes escaping. Being so small, the little mouse wriggled straight through the fence to meet the gigantic giraffes inside. Standing as tall as he could, he reached for the leaves on top of the gigantic trees, but even on tiptoes, he could only reach the grass growing around the trunk of the tree. All the giraffes fell about laughing. Ha ha ha! In that case, the little mouse thought, I must be an eagle. So he ran over to where all the ginormous eagles lived, in a ginormous cage covered with a ginormous net to stop the eagles from escaping. Being so small, the little mouse easily slipped straight through the netting to meet the ginormous eagles inside. Trying to fly, he jumped in the air and flapped the little mouse legs as fast as he could, but try as he might, he just kept falling over his bottom. All the eagles fell about laughing.
Flap.
Ha ha ha! Just then the zookeeper came along to close the zoo for the night. First he went to see the great big lions who were still laughing at the little mouse's feeble roaring. The zookeeper put a great big lock on the great big bars to stop the lions from running around and exploring the countryside. He went to see the gigantic giraffes who were still laughing at the little mouse standing on tiptoes trying to reach the top of the tree. The zookeeper put a gigantic lock on the gigantic fence which stopped the giraffes from reaching the juiciest leaves just outside their cage. Lastly, the zookeeper went to see the ginormous eagles who were still laughing at the little mouse trying to fly and falling on his bottom. A ginormous big lock on the ginormous net to stop the eagles from flying off and soaring through the sky. Ha ha! Ha ha ha! Oh! Then the zookeeper saw the little mouse. What are you doing, little mouse? Said the zookeeper. This zoo is not for a little mouse like you. Shoo. Little, said the mouse to himself. The little mouse realized that out of all the enormous animals in the zoo, he was the only one small enough to scamper through the bars, wriggle through the fences, and slip through the netting. Suddenly, of all the other animals stopped laughing. They were all locked in their cages, staring at the little mouse who was free to go wherever he wanted and explore the world. The little mouse fell around laughing at how lucky he was to be so small. He realized he didn't need to be big. He was a little mouse, and being little was all he needed to be happy. And so the little mouse picked up his little bag containing all his important mousy things and left the zoo, running as fast as his very little legs would carry him. He ran all the way back to his little hole in his little tree, in his little wood, and he promised himself from that day forward he would just enjoy being a little mouse. He could be. The end. Ha 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 ha.